Hello everyone, this is model number 25, the USS Shenzhou, and it is the first model kit that I built during my deployment approximately 5 years ago. So that's the instruction sheet. You can see here the decal sheet, which made it minimal painting because of the wallpaper decals. In fact, out of the 4 models I bought during deployment, 3 of them I didn't even paint at all. I just put the decals directly onto the model kit. That's the display shelf I used as I started building them, and I had a nice thick, well, wide windowsill, and that's what I used as my building surface for the model. And you can see the angles here. Now, haven't got to the point where I put in the impulse engines yet. I found a glue stick. I actually found a glue stick at the Canex, and I used it to assemble everything. Now, there was some painting that I did on the deflector dish and the warp nacelle grills and the impulse engines, but that's where I discovered some TimberTech paints from Germany that I ordered. That's the underside. You saw the bridge, and there's the top. You see the deflector dish still blending in with gray. Now, you can see the struts of the nacelles where the nacelles connect. There's the back showing a shuttle bay and everything. So it's interesting. With the nacelles in place, this ship ended up looking a lot like the Ares class, with the exception that this one did not have a secondary hull. And almost, if you inverted where the nacelles were and turned it upside down, you would kind of get a stylized version of the NX-01 in a weird way. As you can see here, you can even see some ridge lines. So that's almost like an NX-01, just a Kurtzman style NX-01. Then you can see the instructions underneath. Now I labeled them, each step I was at and everything, and of course I continued my tradition of getting pictures of the models from all 4 sides, because this is when I was still the last few months of model build slideshows where I hadn't taken any video from the beginning. The Excelsior model number 31 started in late July of 2021. Was the first model that I did a build series from the beginning with full video. And here you can see the model mounted on its display stand. It hasn't been painted yet, but there it is next to its box. But I will see if I have a picture of it fully painted next to its box. There's what you saw in the first episode of Discovery, when it was hovering over the desert planet. And there's another view of the decal sheet, although that is taken on a later day than the 3rd picture in this video. And this is how they make you save the box. They put the painting instructions and the decal applications on the inner box before you put the lid over top. But those boxes also served as a good way for me to pack the models when I sent them home near the end of deployment. Now that just shows what the ship looks like from the side once all the decals are applied. And I started at the fantail, of course. Didn't want to go too fast too soon, and of course I did some at the front saucer there. This is the underside. I always do the underside first, so if there's ever a mistake, you don't really see it. But it's neat how the decals bring a sort of silver look even to the bare plastic. And you can see the landing leg hatches. I guess that's what the red triangle signifies, although it overlaps multiple raised sections of the hull. But look at how well the windows showed up. You'll see a closer view in a moment. So that's the entire saucer done, the entire bottom saucer done. And the next picture should be a close-up of the bottom saucer, and you can see the white window decals that are integrated into the hull. Well, actually a few pictures ago showed it better. There it is from the side. Now, it's weird. The nacelles don't look like they're fully in place. There you go. There you see the windows. And the triangles. And the hole for the stand. So the nacelles are actually longer than the ship, and there isn't really that much of a secondary hull unless you count the flaring out triangle section. And these are models that I haven't shown all the build pictures of before. Same with the Plymouth Roadrunner. So now we're into uncharted territory, so to speak, and we're in the last 5 models that I built. This is the second of the last 5 models I built before I started filming videos. So models 25 and 27 through 30. Oh wait, I built model number 26. Christmas of 2020, I didn't think of doing video for it, but I started doing videos when I came back, and that's what occupied the first 3 weeks of July, of course. Yeah. All right, there you go. Now, when it came to the side of the box, I had to use my black Sharpie to indicate which decals had already been applied and if any numbers had to be changed. And so now you can see almost the entire bottom hull, except for the warp nacelles, has been decaled. And there is a close-up of the crossbar and the beautiful blue design pattern that's in there. And you know what? The model made it home. Not a single decal was out of place. Of course, I packed the nacelles separately, just to make sure. And look at the close-up of the windows. There's the registry number. Look at how small it is. And there it is on the other side. It's so much smaller than the TOS Enterprise, you would hardly even see it. There's even a faint Aztec pattern in there. And then I started working on the top of the hull. I think I started with the outer rim and the 2 indents first, or maybe some top stuff too. And you see how it sits on its nacelles, perfectly level. And nothing got disrupted, nothing got nudged out of place. It worked out perfectly. And I hadn't done any painting on the deflector dish. That was the only thing they didn't have decals for, so I had to paint it, but I had to wait for my paint to arrive first, so I just put on all the wallpaper decals while I waited. You can see the 2 prongs from the nacelles. That's a riff off the Columbia. It had 2 central deflector needles, whereas the NX-01 only had 1. There's a big registry number. NCC 1227. Okay, so I did one side first and then went for the other. You know, these are the models. I built 3 of the models because I didn't have spray paint. So I built wallpapered right on the bare plastic and only did a slight bit of detail painting. But it turned out quite well. It looks so weird with only half the saucer outlined and the other half not. It's almost like some kind of weird abstract painting. Ah, that's the cavity for the impulse engines. Now, I don't know what's to the right of it. Maybe it's a shuttle bay? Oh, I was holding it upside down so parts would set. There's the glue stick. There's the other impulse engine cavity and the nacelle, the decals. Well, I guess I had duller light at that time. So it's kind of a... But that's the top saucer all done. You can see the window showing up a bit in the duller light. That's quite good. So look at that big thick weird stripe right down the center spine of the top saucer. So they really look quite different from the Kelvinverse and anything else. So the next 4 pictures after this one should show it in proper light. And there we go. Now you can see all the details. Now I don't know what those black things are near the outer ring. Maybe they're extra phasers. Maybe they're escape pods. It's hard to tell. Remember, this was approximately 10 years before Kirk's second pilot. But they look so different. People say, oh, maybe it's a riff off the NX-01 timeline. Because in the NX-01 timeline, Zephram Cochrane blabbed about the Borg, but no one believed him. Whereas in the TOS Captain Kirk timeline, there was no Borg to blab about. And maybe in the Kelvinverse, he did blab about the Borg. They believed him. Or maybe they also reverse engineered parts of Nero's ship to create the Kelvinverse starships. Alright, so I haven't done the nacelle struts yet. only the saucer and the slight engineering hole on the top, which is much more obvious that from the top than the bottom that it has a engineering hole at all. I think you're beginning to get some detail into the cells now. They certainly do gleam silver. Look at that. That's just it gleaming in the light, the bare plastic. Then you have the underside and the cutting mat I bought. That protects everything so that no decals get rubbed out of place or anything. There it is on its stand. Oh, see, I even brought the magnifying glass from home so I could see all the details. There's the paint beside it. You saw that. And these are the last few pictures with the painted deflector dish of the completed model. And the nacelle trenches colored. Yes, it was red all the way through there. Before I went home. Now you get into group pictures on my shelves at home. You've got the three, but you'll see the Discovery built and the NX-01. There it is right behind the million scale Bandai Super Star Destroyer on my display shelf. Then I moved it to that one and put that shelf up in the living room, as you can see here. So those are all my model starships, at least on the lower level. There they are sitting above my kitchen cabinets, all three of them together, along with the other 2500 scale ships, because remember, they're all 2500 scale. So you can see they're more in scale with the 24th century ships. Here they are with the DeLorean and the other model cars. Here they are all together on a different shelf in the living room. So I kept moving the shelves around until I moved to Deep River in early 2022 and trying to find places to put these ships. And that's the last picture taken in Chalk River. Here's the first picture taken in Deep River, I believe, in my model display room. And so that's the end of model number 27, the USS Shenzhou in 2500 scale. See you later. Bye-bye.